Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be preparing the car for something that we desperately needed, and that is new tires. So I have finally gone and ordered the Mickey Thompson ET Street SS's. It's a 305/35 R20. Obviously the car comes standard with the Eagle F1 Supercar 3 tires. They are a 305/30 R20. So some of you guys are aware that there's a rubbing issue on the 6th gen Camaros when you go to a 35 tire, and I'm going to try and get close-up footage for you of that so you can see where it rubs. But there's a wiring harness behind the inside fender well cover, and if you rub through and you grab that wire harness and rub that wire harness, well, big problems, because it controls, I think, your HUD system and a bunch of other dash stuff from the computer in the trunk. So it looks like it's supposed to rain a little bit today as a forecast, so we have the Camaro in our handy dandy portable garage here. Still haven't made a video of kind of my living situation, but I don't have a nice fancy driveway with smooth concrete, and don't have a garage, so I have to rough it when I do this kind of stuff. But it's a minor maintenance job, should be pretty easy to do. So getting into what we're looking at here, the tire is a little bit bigger, and let me see if I can grab that for you. Okay, so probably going to be hard to see here, but I'll try and get an angle. The tire is just a little bit taller, or a circumference a little bit larger than the stock Supercar 3. Now my tires are worn down a little bit, so they're probably a little smaller diameter than stock, but you guys might be able to get an idea here that the tire, and I've got it lined up as best I can here, but the tire's just a little bit bigger. So let's roll this out of the way. What our issue is going to be inside here. Let me grab a flashlight. I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so our issue is going to be right back here. You may be able to see where the tire is already fairly close to this little hump that's back here. Let me set this tripod down and see if I can point it out for you. So the issue is going to be right here. There's this hump right here, and the wiring harness is located directly behind that hump. And it's right on the corner of the tire, and you can kind of see where my fingers are. That's about the distance that you have. So with this Mickey Thompson being a little bit taller, what I'm afraid of is what everybody says online, that the new tire is going to rub through that fender well cover, which I'm not worried about that, but more importantly, that wiring harness behind there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get this tire off. We can get a better view of the wheel well for you so you can see what I'm talking about. Then we're going to pull the cover back a little bit, see if we can relocate this harness, and should be a fairly easy job. So let's get to it. So you may have seen in the time lapse there that jacking the car from the frame rail on the side of the subframe rail was not going to work because I have a crappy little jack and I'm not on concrete and all that kind of stuff. So obviously we need to get the tire off the ground. So what I've done is I have gone under the suspension arm and I'm just jacking it that way so I can just get the tire off the ground. Now, I know some of you are going to yell at me for not having it on a jack stand and all of that, but the parking brake is set so all the brakes are locked, and there's a natural chalk up front for the wheel, and I don't have the car that high off the ground, and I don't think we're going to have an issue just pulling the tire off. You know, if we kind of push the car, it's not going anywhere. There's a plastic cover there under the suspension arm that you got to take off, so that was removed, and now we do have the tire off the ground. So let's continue on with getting the rest of the tire off. Okay guys, so we've now got our tire removed here, and this is the spot that I was talking about here. So there's a little hump right here, kind of hard to see probably, but that Mickey Thompson's gonna rub right there. So we've got pop rivets here that we got to try and get out, and once we get that out, should be able to get some of this peeled back where we can relocate this harness. So let's try and get that done. Alright, we got our handy dandy fastener tool here. Should help us get this done. Let's double check and make sure the car is not going to move. No, it's not. So let's see if we can get these things out of here. Okay guys, with all of the dirt, I did not notice that some of these are not a pop rivet, they're actually a star or a Torx bit screw. So these two here were the pop rivets. It looks like moving up, we've got to take that one out, which is a Torx bit. Not quite sure what's going to go on here with this one. And then we've got a Torx bit down here, and we've got a Torx bit right here if I need. Let me get the flashlight there, maybe you can see it in here. Got a Torx bit right there that we have to take out, and that should be all I need just to peel this back a little. So let me go get the appropriate tool and I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, it is a T15 bit, so let's try and get these out of here. Alright, so this up in here, let me get a flashlight again, see if I can light this up for you. So this guy up top, pretty simple. It just unscrews from the stud. I just use my fingers. There is a little slit in here if you need to get a screwdriver in there, but mine just came off via finger. So not too difficult there. We should be able to peel this back now. Okay guys, I just peeled it back. Right here is another stud right here. One of these little guys, one of these things here. Took that off there. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6 down here to take off. And I just kind of folded it back, as you see. I didn't remove the rear. It's a flexible cloth, so I just kind of folded it back. And here is the harness that we're talking about. See if I can get an angle on it here. So this is the harness here, and it's this point right down here on this wire loom. Right in here is where you're gonna rub, possibly in here too. So what guys are doing is they are relocating it back here and zip tying it kind of to the brake line mount here. So we're going to get these zip ties out of here and see if we can move this thing around a little bit and yeah, and see what we come up with here. Alright, I got a little tiny light, so hopefully you guys can see a little bit better. Of course, my hands are probably going to be in the way, but you'll get the idea here, I hope. And let's see if we can get this thing moved. These things you just got to kind of manhandle out of here. These little fasteners. Okay guys, so we've got our harness all loose from up here, right here, right here. This one was the hardest one down here. And then you've got one that normally goes here and one here. So now we've got the harness slack. See if we can relocate it more towards the inside of the wheel well here. I'm putting this zip tie on loose here just to kind of get it around that bracket, and then what I'm trying not to do is put too much tension on this plug, because that's where this harness plugs into. So I don't want to have things all kind of bent or kinked. So I'm trying to do as gentle of a loop as I can to keep this harness still flexible. It doesn't need to travel because it's all mounted to the body. And of course this brake line mount right here, it doesn't really flex. Your flex comes in the hose here for your suspension travel. So it should be okay routed this way. That's how I saw other people doing it in some photos. So that's what I'm gonna try and do here, the same. I don't know if I want to keep this plug on here or this little fastener. I think I'm going to flip it around. There we go. That's a little smoother right there. But I do want to keep the original fasteners on there just because I'm kind of OCD like that. And if I ever want to put this thing back, I want to have the original fasteners. So I do not want to cut them off. So I think I'm just going to rotate them around kind of out of the way. There we go, that looks pretty good there. And I have one zip tie here. I'm probably gonna put another one just kind of right around the base here. But that should be, I think it looks pretty okay. It's gonna be as smooth as it can be in there. I don't wanna put a zip tie around the bottom here because I don't wanna interfere with the travel of that brake line. But all we really need to do is just kind of keep it out of the way. And there's a fastener. Can you guys see that up here? Let me see. Nope. There's a fastener, this fastener up here. Remember our little screw thing goes on there. A little disc fastener goes on here. So I want to keep this away from that so that we have enough to grab back onto that. And the wheel well lining is probably going to hold this in place up in here anyway. So we're going to do the zip ties down here and finish this up. Got some little burrs here. I'm going to go ahead and knock these metal burrs off while I'm in here. So
so they don't cut the tire if it gets that dang close. I don't think it will, but better safe than sorry. All right. And we got these on fairly loose, guys. They're snug, but you don't want to crank down on them real hard. And that looks like it. I think we should be good to go. The way it is, that's as far over as we can get. I have tried to position it just to the left of this hump. There's a hump right here, and I tried to put it just to the left of that, and it's just kind of static stays where you put it up here. I put this fastener back in at the top here, this one here. It's loose, but again, the wheel well cover should hold it. So I think that's it. Let's trim our tails. Be a good boy or girl and always trim your zip tie tails. So we'll get these snipped off here. And I think we should be good to go. I don't foresee any problem with rubbing. It does have the protective shroud, or whatever you guys call that little flex line tube stuff. I don't know, but the protective shroud there should keep the wires good from any rubbing. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So let's put our wheel well liner back in and button this up. Okay guys, that worked out pretty good here. See if I can get an angle on it. So I've got plenty of room on my stud here to put the liner back in. It's fitting well in there, and then there's no hump here anymore. If you see, I push on it, it goes right up to the metal of the wheel well. So no more hump where that harness is. That should get us good. I've got the liner pretty much stuffed back in. Don't forget that it goes in these corners right here. You got to tuck it underneath for a nice clean look. So let's finish this up. Man, there's a lot of burnout rubber in this thing. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, got our pop rivet back in here, little pop fastener in here. We've got the new one up in there, or the fastener back up in there. That's the screw type. Got our little disc type here, another screw type down here, and then finally another disc one here. So super simple. Let's get the tire back on, get it on the ground, and we can call it done. Alright guys, got an old school torque wrench here. I know it's not the best, but we are going to the dealer tomorrow to get the tire swapped on the rim, so it reads to 140, so we can get enough torque on it. We just got to do what we got to do with the limited tools I have. I'm just getting a preliminary torque on it right now. Just so I can set the car back down on the ground, and then we'll torque it the rest of the way. right, all we got left to do is put our plastic cover back on here for our lower arm here, and we'll be done.
Alright guys, well I hope that helped you out. I know there's not a real concise footage of doing this project that I could find online, so hopefully this video helps some of you guys out if you had some questions about what exactly you're doing. But pretty simple project that you got to relocate that harness if you want to run like a Mickey Thompson 305 by 35. I've also heard people doing a 315 by 35 or something like that. So if you want to do that, you're probably going to need to relocate that harness just to make sure that you're safe. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out. Click the like button, please. Share it with your friends that have Z01s or any 6th gen Camaro. This is the same issue for all of them. Any 6th gen. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. I'll catch you guys on the next one after we get the tires mounted.